Hey, practice owners. Welcome to another edition of Coming Back Stronger. And again, these are a little more thrown together than what we normally do, but I think it's important that we get our information out there. And as you know, we've been reaching out to the real key opinion leaders in our industry, in the dental industry, practice owners, people who have lived through it and done it and can bring a unique perspective to their area of expertise. And on this episode, I'm very, very excited to introduce a good friend again, Dr. Uche Odiatu. And now you are a practicing dentist. You still practice, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, 3 days a week, sometimes 2, but 3 on average.
So yeah, so if anybody is on any form of social media, or if they've gone to any dental meeting, they've seen you speak, and you're sort of the, aside from being a real high energy guy, your area is really health, wellness, nutrition, all the things that are, personally, that might not seem important today, when your practice is shut down and there's a coronavirus epidemic and all these things. This might seem to be the last thing you want to think about. We were talking earlier, and it's probably as important as anything else, as mental health, as your business health, just your physical health, to be able to make the smart decisions and stay strong and, be the leader of your practice right now. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because people think of me as the wellness guy, but Ralph Waldo Emerson said health is the first wealth. So people often think it's value added, and we'll put Uche at the end of the program. But when you realize that if you have sciatica, constipation, a migraine, reflux, a headache, frozen shoulder, you're not going to be too productive. And you don't realize how much you need your body or your brain until it starts not working. And then it takes a long time to get it back. And dentists know about prevention, hygienists know about prevention, because flossing and brushing, a power brush, $100, an implant, $6,000. So I'm all about the roots. A lot of people try and fix stuff at the leaves, but I'm all about the roots. And you attack wellness at the roots, you will have a huge amount of productivity boost, mental clarity boost, longer career, more lucid, less chance of disability. So I might be the wellness guy, but if you sit in the audience for any longer than 10 minutes, you realize this is probably the most important program in the conference, I feel.
And you do have there's just a buzz when you speak that is just different than anything else. We can sit and look at slides of atraumatic extraction and get all excited, but when you come on, there is just an excitement, and I really do think it's important right now to sort of bring that to practice owners who are, to some degree, they're at home. And when you look at, in fact, I think you and I shared some photographs of when this whole coronavirus situation started. You would go into a grocery store, when you could go into a grocery store, and it was easy back then, just a few weeks ago, and the produce section is full, untouched. And you go over to potato chips and, soft drinks and all this junk stuff we're not supposed to eat, and it's wiped out. And what I hear sort of anecdotally is there are a lot of, first of all, the stress level is high and anxiety is high, trying to figure out how to keep your practice open, how to pay the bills, how to pay your staff. And a lot of people just are, a lot of practice owners, they're just eating their way through the food that they've hoarded, and it's not such good food. Are you seeing that?
Well, I'm hearing it. I'm seeing it. I do some one-on-one coaching, so I'm getting some of that. I see it on Facebook. People talking about what's in their fridge, what's on their table, and they have actually shown that comfort food. There's real science. Like Emran Mayer, a gastroenterologist out of California, said there's real science behind comfort food making you feel better when you're stressed out. Nature, naturally, when you get sugar and fat in your stomach, you attenuate your cortisol, which means right away cortisol starts going down, which in a moment makes you feel good. However, 2, 3, 4 nights in a row, a month, a year, a decade, and now you're higher A1Cs, pre-diabetic. And basically, 37% of adults in America are pre-diabetic. It's 50% over 65. So people don't realize that pre-diabetes rarely goes backwards. You're well on your way to diabetes, limb amputation, blindness, stroke. So when I talk comfort food, in the moment it makes you feel better. and over the decade, you will have a chronic degenerative disease because of it and a shorter practice life.
So what could you do as a practice owner today, right now? If my practice is kind of shut down, my team is scattered, I'm stressed about that. I filled out all my loan applications. I'm waiting to see what happens with that. And, my own personal health wise, what are some things I could be doing right now that help me just keep my head straight, keep me feeling better, keep me a little on top of my game right now, as we go through another few weeks or month or couple months of this?
Well, I have a 4-part ultimate survival plan for dentists and the whole dental team. The first part is sleep. Sleep is foundational. I wouldn't even call it a pillar because basically it's the foundation or bedrock of everything else falls on. You can do an all-nighter, but I don't know many people can go 2 nights in a row without sleep. So sleep is powerful. Movement, exercise. And you see a lot of people on Facebook trying, a lot of people realize that exercise and physical activity is important. There's real science behind physical activity, not just to make you look hot for your Facebook picture profile, but to manage stress and to keep your immune system strong. Third is nutrition. Nutrition is probably also one of the bedrock things. You can really live or die according to nutrition. You are what you eat. And, it's been said for years, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. People, pop and chip and cookies in moderation. Hippocrates said in moderation. However, if it becomes your mainstay or your go-to, there will be chronic inflammation in the body. And my 4th part is managing stress. So it's sleep, physical activity, nutrition, and stress management. And if you master these 4 over the weeks you're away from your office, you'll come back stronger, more lucid, more balanced, looking better, and you'll be ready for the onslaught of patients and the huge pent-up demand, and then you can finish the year strong. But if you come back tired, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, 6 pounds heavier, with chronic inflammation, dry mouth, the need to have alcohol in the nighttime to wind down, the second half is not going to be pretty, because as soon as you got to turn your afterburners on, there'll be no gas in the gas tank. So for me, those 4, so sleep, physical activity, nutrition, and stress management. Those are my 4 ultimate survival guides for dentists.
How much, when you say sleep, and and I'm a business owner, I'm as guilty as anybody, and my wife will tell you about 2:30 in the morning, my eyes are open and I'm thinking, okay, what, tomorrow, what can we do? How much sleep at somebody at different ages, how much sleep do you think is enough, or should I be focused on getting?
Yeah, great question. It used to say it depends on who you are, but they now said every human being needs sleep. Unless you have a genetic profile that says you can get by with 4, which is basically 0.05% of the population, all the sleep scientists now are saying anywhere from 7 to 9 hours. Okay. So 7 to 9 hours. The sad thing is, 100 years ago, only 1% of the American population would get less than 6 hours. Now it's 33%. So 1/3 of the adult population gets 33%. Which means they're operating at half-mast. They're operating with low testosterone. They're operating without having their memories and emotions processed, because basically memories and emotional processing happen during REM time. REM needs to be about 100 minutes a night. So minimum, we need to dream in total about 100 minutes a night. You'll see it on your polysomnography test or sleep study test. So that is where the hippocampus takes short-term memory, puts it through spindles into your executive frontal cortex. This is where you store it long-term. So anyone I know over 40 that says they have a horrible memory, I'm thinking, how well do you sleep? It's always horrible. People who sleep 7 to 9 always have good memories. People who have hopeless memories always sleep less than 7, because it's nighttime where your brain sorts things out, compartmentalizes them, compares them with past memory, makes you wiser. It's during your sleep that the body holds up different parts of your life and integrates information. And they say this is actually what makes humans human. They said what makes us different from the apes, because technically we're the only mammal that dreams as much as we do. And they said dreaming makes you have more social connection. It increases what's called your emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, they actually say, some people say, is actually more important than IQ. Sorry about that.
That's right. I grabbed like 3 phones on my desk. Seriously, I have phones here, phones here.
Okay. That's the White House. We'll keep going, right? So,
there you go. Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Sleep, in terms of emotional and memory health, it happens during REM time. And this is actually from Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep. Matthew Walker is a PhD and a sleep scientist out of Berkeley, and incredible information. And people always think dreaming is just a fun thing to do. Meanwhile, dreaming is where your brain is sorting things out. Dreaming is sorting out and processing emotion, and dreaming is where you sort out and compartmentalize memory and puts it from short term into long term. It all happens in the hippocampus. The hippocampus is where you store short-term memory. To give you an idea of how important that is, on Alzheimer's people, which is 5 million people in America right now, people with Alzheimer's on autopsy, their hippocampus is half the size on autopsy. The hippocampus is half the size. So if you're getting poor sleep, also stress shrinks the hippocampus, cortisol makes the hippocampus. If you're getting poor sleep and you're stressed out, you can imagine the size. Now, and really funny, the size of the dental team and the dentist's hippocampus now, forgetful. Look at how people say they don't know what day it is. Here you are, you have 2 degrees, you own a business with 30 people, you have 2,000 patients, and you're asking your 10-year-old what day it is? Like at that point, you realize there's something going on in the mental clarity department. That it's a sign, it's a canary in the coal mine. It's a canary in the coal mine.
That is amazing. So what are some things you could do? Because you're talking to me right now.
Okay.
What are some things that I can do, or a practice owner could do that's watching this? It's easy to say, okay, I need more sleep. So at whatever, I'm 10 o'clock or 10:30, I'm going to bed.
Right.
And now, and I just watched the latest coronavirus update or whatever. So I've got all that going on.
Right.
Are there some things you can recommend to do to help with that sleep, or just find that good deep sleep or ease into sleep?
Sure. And you'll find those, if you want to get that advice, talk to any 90-year-old patient, and any 90-year-old patient that's in your chair, if you ask them how well they sleep, it's always amazing, because the people who don't sleep good are gone. Basically, the shorter your sleep, the shorter your life expectancy. So that's a good indication. If you value your life, your practice, your boat, your house, your car, your cottage, your family, basically they said poor sleeping is slow euthanasia. So you're basically euthanizing yourself by being a poor sleeper. So I want to focus more on the why, because the how is easy. But what I want to do is I'm going to leverage and cause so much pain with the dentist and the team going to bed late tonight. I want to make them feel nervous about if it's midnight. One of the things you can easily do is realize that sleep lowers. If you have a night of disrupted sleep, 1/3 of your transcribing genes are disrupted. So when you think of DNA, which is the blueprint of your brain and your body, it's putting down the map. So if 1/3 of your genes are being transcribed poorly the next day after a night of poor sleep, think of an architect who's drunk coming to build your dream house every day. That is what you're getting if you're a poor sleeper. So right away you're thinking, if you want to look like a mastermind, you got to have really lucid thoughts. 2, they've done studies that people who sleep more earn more. So Schrader and Gibson did a long-term study about 10 years ago, and they showed how people on average who sleep more earn more. So people who sleep more earn more. They have higher wages. They've also shown that people who sleep better, because they're more lucid, they're more emotionally balanced, they have better memory, they have higher emotional intelligence, also are better leaders. They did a study with CEOs of companies, and they asked all the employees, what did it feel like being around the CEO today? Oh, he was great, or she was amazing. They went back and asked 8 hours sleep. Anytime the CEO had poor quality sleep, everyone around knew, because they weren't as inspiring, they're more irritating, and they couldn't actually integrate and their communication that well. They've actually shown that CEOs do their job better and they're more inspiring if they're better sleepers. And it literally goes night by night. 8 hours, good leader. 8 hours, good leader. 4 hours, irritated, couldn't remember a name, forgot to say happy birthday to someone. So this is pretty powerful for the owner. So if you come across as a poor leader, simply by increasing your sleep, all things else equal, it's a pretty inexpensive way of coming across more empowered and more like a CEO. So I'm just trying to stack the reasons on why. Also, testosterone's lower. Testosterone basically is what helps older men, a lot of older people suffer from depression. So if someone has poor sleep on a regular basis, they have 20% less testosterone for 18 hours after. So they're going to be what's called grumpy old man syndrome, irritable and annoyed, almost like an Archie Bunker type, like a big brain, but no testosterone, no get up and go. Also, you become a poor fat metabolizer. You become insulin resistant or more likely to get diabetes. They've actually shown that getting more sleep makes you more attractive the next day. They did one study where they held all people up. They had people, 20 different people from all ranges of attractiveness, universal societal definition. And they had another group that didn't know that's what they were looking for. They said, who would you rather have a cup of coffee with in terms of who looks more pleasant? And technically it's who's more attractive. Well, anyone, no matter how beautiful they were, if they had a night of 4 hours sleep, they weren't deemed someone they'd like to have a coffee with. So they showed literally one night of sleep made you less attractive. And there's a researcher by the name of Dobzhansky, a PhD. He said, if you look at the eyes through evolution, a poor sleeper who's not attractive, why are we not attracted to a poor sleeper? They also make a poor life mate because they're less likely to have good genes, low testosterone, fly off the handle, eat the baby. Like think of 100,000 years ago. So now let's talk about how,
Right.
Yeah. So my how, it's all called sleep hygiene. And people right away, a lot of dentists, because we're into quick fix, it's like, can I take melatonin? And like, why are dentists so focused on the quick fix? There's no fitness or health in life that's a shortcut. Melatonin will not make you a better sleeper. If anything, it has a huge placebo effect. And if anything, melatonin helps you stay asleep. It doesn't help you get to sleep.
Okay.
What makes people not sleep is just watching Sean Hannity or Carlson Tucker or Wolf Blitzer or Don Lemon for an hour. You're pulling your hair out going, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe she said that. And what happens is when cortisol's high, melatonin's low. Anytime you're irritated, frustrated, angry, upset, anxious, cortisol is low. So you will toss and turn. And the second phase that happens at 2:30 in the morning, we talk about all these dentists now and business owners getting up at 3, wondering why am I so alert? Because your melatonin was so low due to the evening stimulation, because melatonin actually peaks in the middle of the night. But if you're overstimulated by watching the news, looking at your spreadsheet, looking at your visa bill, what happens is melatonin has a 4-hour delay, and now it peaks at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we wake up tired, even though we might have been in bed 7-8 hours. So that wake up in the middle of the night thing is from low melatonin, and your body makes it through the pineal gland. The pineal gland basically makes most of the melatonin in your body. So anytime you take an exogenous amount, the body stops making its own. What you got to do is you got to inspire your pineal gland to make more, not necessarily shortcut it by taking it, because the body's pretty lazy. It's like putting a cast on a broken leg. The muscles get smaller the minute you put a cast on. The minute you take a product, the body now no longer has to make it. So I'm just trying to inspire these dentists to think, oh, I had no idea. That's why I want to get people to think, I had no idea. Uche, my God,
Less take a pill and solve a problem, and more sort of fix the root cause of the problem, the stress, the anxiety, try to manage that right before you're going to bed, rather than go to bed, be cranked up and say, well, let me take a couple melatonin pills and, everything will be awesome.
Or magnesium, So one thing is to stay away from media, unless it's relaxing. If you hate Facebook, oftentimes, like, you and I think we have the same Facebook, and I think we do because we're similar in many ways. But some people's feeds are completely different than mine. I'm going like, look at your feed compared to mine. Lions eating dogs and dogs eating tigers. I'm like, mine all, the monk who sold his Ferrari and good to great. People talking about what they enjoy. So I would say read some fiction before bedtime. I would also say they'll say have the lights dimmer. When you think of human evolution, throughout human history, as soon as it was sunset, as soon as it was sundown, basically everyone went to bed 2 hours later. And the only light that was on was the fire. So if the light in your 6,000 square foot house has all LED and 100 pot lights because you're doing prepping crowns with your Ceramic machine and you're doing very well, what happens is your light looks like a Cirque du Soleil performance. It should be dimmer than it should be subdued, incandescent lighting, orange lighting. I use a Himalayan salt lamp in many parts of the house. A Himalayan salt lamp actually duplicates the light of a fire. And what it does, it gets your brain ready to doze off. It's all about preparing your brain ready for sleep. It's like the appetizer. When you have the soup and salad, the waiter's going to say, what's your entree? Your brain is trained the same way. Dim light, the brain goes, sleep must be coming. Bright light is like looking at the sun at midnight going, hey, how come my brain's not shutting off? Well, you just looked at the sun, for crying out loud. You've given your million-year-old genetic DNA the opportunity to say, it's daylight, go hunting. And now you're trying to sleep, tossing and turning, and it's just a nightmare from there.
So it's kind of like I have 5 kids, and I remember as when they're little, I would always say we're training them to go to bed. We're not going
Okay.
to fight it. You can't communicate with them. You can't say, all right, it's almost 8:30, get ready for bed. But you could go through a routine
Right.
that they sort of knew what was coming. And then when it
Yeah.
was time for bed, it was just time to go to sleep. It was
Yeah.
part of the routine. So
Yeah.
is that kind of it? So take, I don't know, is it hour? Is an hour a good time to sort of ease yourself into bedtime?
Yeah, it depends how much trouble it depends on what you're doing. Some people are really good sleepers. So if you're a really good sleeper, you may only need like a half an hour. Because
Okay.
it's like Pavlov's dog. Orange light comes on, fiction book comes out. You're going to read a book by John Grisham. You got some Bocelli playing. Your Himalayan salt lamp comes on. The brain knows sleep is coming. But if you're looking at CNN and switching back and forth, change Carlson Tucker, Sean Hannity, Don Lemon, and if you're looking at your Visa bill and spreadsheets, if you're trying to put a webinar together at 11 o'clock at night, your brain's going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And people get frustrated. When you get frustrated, guess what goes up? Cortisol, adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got to think, hey, I'm lowering my testosterone. I'm lowering my neural integration with memory. I'm becoming more emotionally unstable. I'm lowering my emotional intelligence. I'm lowering my testosterone. I'm becoming a poor fat burner. I'm becoming insulin resistant and well on my way to chronic degenerative disease. So it's getting more mindful. So at nighttime, within the 2 hours for bedtime, do I want good testosterone or good hormone balance if you're a woman? And if you want to be insulin sensitive, and if you want a good emotional intelligence, if you want to slow down aging and keep your muscle tone and have good growth hormone, I'm going to start preparing an hour before bedtime the way that Stephen and Uche were talking about.
Okay.
So it's all about setting the tone and following certain steps. So dimmer light compared to bright light. No TV. Get the TV out of your bedroom. It's not just a feng shui thing. Basically, it excites your nervous system. TV's meant to, you look at a picture of a burger and fries that's 5 feet across on your 80-inch TV, that's not a sign to go to bed, okay? Keep the room fairly cool. A cool room sets the tone for sleep. A pitch black room helps. So when if you can actually look at your hand while you're sleeping, you can see the outline of it, you can actually see your fingers, it's too bright. Basically, people often have the best sleeps in hotel rooms because they have pitch black curtains. Mm-hmm. Pitch black curtains helps your pineal gland keep pumping out the melatonin. So all these kids with their webcam on, with all these kids with the Batman light, basically you're sacrificing your kid's genius by making them a poor sleeper. And they've actually shown that if you want to raise a genius, make your kid a good sleeper. If you want to have a kid a dropout or possibly addicted to recreational drugs, they have a higher background of being poor sleepers their whole life. Good sleepers integrate information well. Good sleepers actually calm their amygdala. The amygdala is the most primitive part of our brain. It's in our brainstem. Our amygdala is basically attack, and it's very emotionally charged. If you're a poor sleeper, your amygdala is on the alert for 24 hours after. So if you want to subdue your reptilian brain and be a sweeter, nicer, more egalitarian, diplomatic leader that's able to integrate teams and have people work together and pull as one, you want a calm reptile. You don't be swabbing your reptilian crocodile tail all day by being a poor sleeper. So being a good sleeper quietens down your amygdala. So basically it's 60% more alert if you're a poor sleeper after. So you can see now how important it is to sleep. And if that's not the only thing people take away, that's an incredible thing to do, to become more, develop emotional intelligence, have a better memory, become insulin sensitive, have more testosterone, have more growth hormone, more emotional balance. All from a night of sleep, and it's free. It's literally free. Steve, that's free.
Well, and right now, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Turn off whatever CNN or Fox News or whatever it is, and just say, and I said this before, if turn it off, pick a time. If it's 7 o'clock, it's just off. Nothing is going to happen between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. The coronavirus isn't going to, nobody's finding a cure in that 12 hours.
Someone will phone you. Someone will phone you. Something's going to happen. Someone will phone you.
So just cut it off, close that door, and then, relax. So how about number 2 was movement or activity? Sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're the more active and the more, the more I find the more that I do, the tireder I am when it's time to go to bed. I'm ready for bed.
True. A number of studies come out. I'm certified as a trainer in 2 different organizations, CanFit Pro and the National Strength and Conditioning Association. I'm also a professional member of the American College of Sports Medicine. So I get 3 journals every month. huge, thick, like thicker than dental journals. These are exercise science, nutritional science.
Huh.
I get the latest information on probiotics, latest information on intermittent fasting and interval training, just the latest science. Well, there was a recent article in February, and what it said was, people often think sleep is enhanced by exercise, and they said it's not a direct effect. So because exercise helps you process emotion, and exercise basically lowers muscular tension. So someone who doesn't exercise has a lot of muscular tension. Their muscles are tense. You think, Uche, is that good? No, because it makes you exhausted. So, look at Kobe Bryant, or look at LeBron James, Roger Federer. These are loose people. They're loose. Tense people, think of a tense person. So tension exhausts you. That's why you can sit at a desk all day and be sore all over. So basically what exercise does, though, it lowers muscular tension and allows you to have more serotonin, which is your tendon befriending, your calming hormone. It increases GABA, G-A-B-A, it's a neurotransmitter, which is the police officer of the brain. It shuts things off, keeps things calm. It's like having the Navy SEALs, the security guards in your house. Like there's no one's going to break and enter. And that's all by exercising. So exercise actually sets the tone for sleep because it lowers muscular tension, allows you to process emotion, and now you sleep better indirectly. So it's an indirect link. So it's not because you're exhausted. It's the fact that all your neurotransmitters are more balanced. It balances all your hormones. It decreases muscular tension, and now actually you're going to sleep better. And that's the reason. So that's pretty powerful. But also a better sleeper also makes you perform better in exercise. Michael Phelps, 11 hours a night. James LeBron, 10 hours. Usain Bolt, 10 hours. Roger Federer, 9 hours. Huh. You tell me which dentist that sleep more than 9 hours.
Right.
So it's one way to become world class. Like they said, basically, if you're an average clinician and you have an average practice and you're thinking, what am I going to do? All you could do in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks is to become a master, become a Kung Fu Panda sleeper. And all of a sudden you'll have more emotional intelligence. You'll be more stress resilient. You'll become more insulin sensitive, more testosterone, which lowers depression, allows you to have more growth hormone, which tells every one of your 110 trillion cells that you're alive and you're youthful. And now you go back to work looking younger, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with better memory. And all you did was master sleep. But I know people now, they're trying to learn 3 languages. They're trying to learn Farsi, Spanish, and French. Yeah. They got 2 trainers, one for upper body, one for lower body. Right. They have a Sirac. They brought the Sirac home so they could master Sirac before they go back. And excuse me, at what point is that going to fail? Right.
Well, you start, now you're piling it on, not taking it off.
Yeah.
So what are some, and I think you're right. It is a good time to integrate, whether you want to call it exercise or movement or something. If you see patients 4 days a week, it's hard to integrate exercise that's not outside or not, outside the practice. What can somebody be doing right now that maybe lays that groundwork for the future? Things you can start now that are not, suddenly you can't go to the gym. So there's that. But some things you can start doing to feel better right now and ease your way into a new behavior pattern when you come back.
Well, I say when you go back, develop a home gym. They said, look, I'm in the home gym in the family. I got about a couple $1,000s worth of equipment, benches, dumbbells, and mirrors, you name it. But I remember Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was a business philosopher.
Yeah.
He said, every house where there's a millionaire, they have a library in it. They'll have books in it. If you want a house, if you're not a millionaire yet, get yourself a library. One day you'll become a millionaire. But if you don't have books in it, you will soon lose your millions. Add that to every house with a multi-millionaire has a gym in it. If you have a multi-million-dollar house, there is a gym in it, because they've actually shown that 85% of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies exercise. So 85% of Fortune 500 company executives exercise. In the general population, these are people averaging $55,000 for their annual income, family of 4. Only 10% exercise. So I'm not saying if you get a 6-pack, you become a millionaire. What they're saying is, though, CEOs appreciate the fact that exercise makes you a better leader. CEOs actually realize exercise helps your neurotransmitters balance out. They make you more stress resilient. There was a really neat magazine. It was called Smart Money Magazine a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And on the cover, it said 5 steps to becoming a millionaire. And I'm thinking, okay, what's the 5 steps? I was very curious. I opened it up. First step was get healthy. First step was, if you want to become a millionaire, get healthy. It wasn't look at your 401k. It wasn't pay off your credit card bill. It was get healthy. And that was in a financial magazine. And they named all the reasons why being healthy helps you not only become a millionaire faster, but helps you stay there. Okay, it helps you stay there. So this was Smart Money Magazine. It was 5 steps to a millionaire. Number 1 was get healthy. So all the dancers watching, thinking, I want to learn 4 languages. I want to learn about CERAC. I want to learn how to do a pinhole perio treatment. No. Become a master sleeper and then start looking at incorporating interval training. Interval training will give your life back. The new science of exercise is less is more. So moderate intensity, steady state exercise is very 1990s. So if you said I have a 1990s practice, that's embarrassing. If you said I work out like the 1990s, that's also embarrassing, because in 2020, it's interval training, which is alternating low intensity, high intensity, low intensity, high intensity, low intensity, high intensity. And they said it's quicker and you get fitter fast. You develop your max VO2, more growth hormone. You get more bang for your buck, exercising shorter, intensely, with periods of rest in between, than any steady state training. You get better afterburn, more muscle, more testosterone, more growth hormone. So interval training is the way to go. And I think I've actually written an article for your magazine, your journal, on exercise when less is more. So it must be in your archives.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And interval meaning, I have a treadmill that, and I think most exercise equipment now that has programming has interval training. And,
yes.
Mine would be, you would start it and it would start out at 3 miles an hour and, 0 incline. And then about, I think it was 5-minute intervals. 5 minutes in, the incline would go up, the speed would go up, and then 5 minutes later it would come back down, and then back up and back down. So what that does, I guess, is just, in the way it was explained to me, is it gets your heart beating, and it gives you a longer, you're basically able to work longer. But if you're going to squeeze in 20 minutes instead of full on intense 20 minutes, do the interval training.
Right. There is a shorter. The science now says 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
7 to 8 minutes is equal or better than an hour. This is Martin Gabala. He's an exercise physiologist. He's the chair of the kinesiology department at McMaster University. He has the most downloaded article in exercise physiology in 2015 on interval training. How they said interval training is the quickest, fastest way to get fit. If you jog 3 miles a day, it might take you 9 months to get fit. But if you're training for a marathon, you do got to run some steady state. So don't get me wrong. If you're a marathon runner, you got to do some steady state training. Right. But if you're a time-starved, stressed, impatient dentist, you got to do interval training. It's the fastest, and you get the most bang for your buck changing interval. So like you said on the treadmill, instead of just staying on the one incline, do the one incline for 2 minutes to warm up, then put it on, let's say 5 or 10%. And now you're working harder at the same pace. And now only do that for 20 to 30 seconds, then go back down again. It's that back and forth, 30 seconds back to normal, 30 seconds back to normal, that makes your physiology go, what are you doing? Mitochondria increase in number. Mitochondria get bigger in number. Mitochondria, make ATP, which is basically the energy in all our bodies. People who have more are more energetic. Anyone who's got more mitochondria is more energetic. And did you know that after age 55, almost half of most dentists, half of the mitochondria, if they're inactive, have turned off already. So if you don't lose it, you lose it. So epigenetically, you can turn back on those tired energy factories in your body, and you can do it quicker and more efficiently by doing interval training. Because interval training shocks you. It's like the defibrillator. It's like, get going. You can massage the heart during CPR, but they don't tell you that's great. Hey, the paddles go on. So interval training basically engages you. And it's not just for fit people. They actually use interval training for cardio rehab. And I would suggest that if you had a heart attack, you'd need a certified trainer that's going to make you better. But they've even now used interval training people with cardio rehab. And basically it's working at a slower pace and then speeding the pace up for 10 seconds and then slowing it down again. It's all about intensity. You don't have to be running like a madman. We're just talking, just increase the pace. There you go, Linda. And now go back down again. And it's that back and forth that you get the most bang for buck. And they say it's as little as 7 minutes. And you have that article in your database. So I call it exercise when less is more. So you got it.
I'll find that, and they're all online at theprofitabledentistmagazine.com. But I'll specifically link that one to this this interview. So if I'm trapped in my home and I wish I'd have seen this 3 weeks ago so I could go buy a treadmill, but I don't. What can I do? If I put on a mask, and I'm outside and I keep social distance, is sort of a little jogging, a little walking, a little jogging, is that just as, right now with, no equipment, is that something that
Yeah,
that gets me started?
Yeah, you can do it that way. So walking, you can do it. So instead of walking at the same pace, you alternate your pace. So you do 2 minutes at a slow pace, then you do 1 minute quicker.
Okay.
And then you don't do it for an hour. Then after a minute, you go back down to, and again, the times vary. If you're unsure, go to YouTube. If you're unsure, message me. But the times vary depending on how, if you're a deconditioned person, you might have to do a 10-minute warm up and then one little blip of intense 1 minute walking, and then go back down and do a 5-minute cool down. But if you're in shape, after a minute walking quick, you can power walk for a minute and then go back to a minute of recovery. It's all about intensity recovery. So you can do it walking, and any age, from like age 5 to 100. And if you're alive with the pulse, you can benefit from interval training. Of course, if someone's got cardiac issues, never exercised before, you do got to get your doctor to tell you you can. But try and go see a doctor now, though. So basically, if you're unsure about your heart, if you've never exercised before, I would say maybe ease off interval training. Just be active, which means get outside. The American College of Sports Medicine in 2009 showed that if you went from doing nothing, which is most of North Americans, we do nothing. If you do nothing and go to a 30-minute walk, not a day, but a week. So if you do nothing, but every week you walk for 30 minutes, they've done a 20-year follow-up study with 4,500 people. You get the biggest increase in health benefits from doing nothing to a 30-minute walk a week. And the decrease in cardiovascular disease, which is the #1 killer, is heart attack and stroke. You reduce mortality by cardiovascular disease by 47%. 47%. Simply by walking for 30 minutes a week at any speed. They didn't even look at speed. To give you an idea how little you need. But I know overachieving dentists go, wow, 30 minutes once a week is good. How about 80 minutes a day? No, 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 no. If you've done nothing, don't go full-bore Lamborghini on me. You know, just do 30 minutes once a week, or 30 minutes a day at any pace. Man, look at that. If the 30 minutes once a week reduces your cardiovascular mortality risk by 47%, 30 minutes once a day is incredible. You will come back leaner, trimmer, sleeping better, quieten your amygdala, your reptilian brain. You'll be happier to be around, increase your emotional intelligence. You'll flatten out the stomach. And they've shown that fit leaders with better posture and more integrated movements are better motivators than people who are stiff and kinetic. You know, they said 80% of communication is body language. If you're fit, this is where I lead. If you're sore and you're achy, you don't have the same, you can say the same words, it's not the same as someone who has that leadership, shoulders back posture. So exercise gives you the posture of a leader. And remember, 85% of CEOs exercise 3 times a week. Only 10% of the regular population exercises, and their average income is $50,000 a year. The average income of CEOs, anywhere from $2 million to $180 million. So if people want to get into that elite group, that 0.05%, begin an exercise program. It's the first step to harnessing and developing who you are and becoming better at who you are.
So you can do that. I mean, we have time now, you know, as we stay home, as we work. Is it, and I've heard different things, is it better to exercise if you're going to do 3 days a week? If you're going to say do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you're going to start now, and you're going to integrate it kind of into your life while you have a cushion and you can build up a little bit of, you know, build the ability so that, say, again, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month from now, when you're back, you can keep doing it. You know, you fold it into your lifestyle. Is morning better, nighttime better? Anything? Is there any science behind that?
Great question. Actually, last month in my American College of Sports Medicine journal, it showed how time doesn't matter. They said it's been a myth for the last 4 decades. There's a time of day, because they had a third of the population are morning larks, a third of the population are night owls, and a third they're in between. So they said for a night owl, you actually might benefit more from exercising in the evening time. And for a morning lark, you wouldn't want to exercise at nighttime. And the night owl who gets up a little later, a little bit groggier, a little slower, will be more efficient and at their peak metabolic time to exercise in the evening time. So there is no best time. And I always said, so they're not really sure what the best time is. It depends on what, if you're a morning person, morning is better. If you're a night owl, evening is when you start peaking in your energy level. So I wouldn't say work out at midnight, even though I've done some posting from Facebook at midnight at the gym. So, but don't follow my lead on that. Just because that was the only time I can get there. But I'd say between 7 and 10 p.m. is not a bad time to train if you're a night owl. So don't worry so much about the time. And I think a lot of dentists were stuck on, it's called paralysis by analysis. It's all or nothing. Dr. Odiatu, what's the best exercise? Dr. Odiatu, what's the best apple? Dr. Odiatu, what's the best pillow? What's the best melatonin? What's the best probiotic? What's the best mattress? I'm like, who cares, you guys? Just get moving. I think we get paralyzed by finding the best, and we end up postponing the decision. I think a lot of dentists like to buy stuff. There's a lot of $6,000 treadmills in dentist homes.
Right.
I bet you they don't log too many miles on those treadmills. That's my prediction. And I don't have a crystal ball, but I can kind of tell those $6,000 treadmills don't get used. I say, and if you are wanting to buy home gym equipment down the road later in the year when we're all back together, don't spend $7,000. Take it off a friend who's never used it since they bought them. They'll be happy to get 50%, right? Think about it. So
we, in fact, it's funny you say that. We, at the Parker household, we now have a home gym. And we have a home gym because, you know, my wife is a very diligent, she goes to the gym every day, and it was a break in her day for her. But now, you know, the gym's closed. So, you know, she works in the morning, she wants to go to the gym and then work in the afternoon. So now we have the home gym. Well, what we really did was took our treadmill, a rower, a stationary bike, and I'm looking for an elliptical. But to your point, I don't know, and I don't get anything from Facebook for this, but Facebook Marketplace is just local. It's people selling local stuff. You will be shocked how many $3,000 exercise bikes are on there for $100. And it's clearly somebody, and you know, the funny thing, Uche, is the pictures are always, you know, because I've been looking for certain ones, it's always like a garage or it's a basement. And somebody says, hey, look at this $3,000, you know, exercise bike I have. I only want $150 for it. And it's stacked with a bunch of stuff, and it clearly hadn't been used for years. Yeah. So yeah, as you get back, that's a great way to do that, to outfit it. But I think the message here is just that, is right now, if you want to pick Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, or whatever fits in your routine, then just part of that day is, you know, if it's evening after supper, or if it's morning before breakfast and going to the practice, get it into a routine. Is that kind of what you're saying? So a sleep routine, an exercise routine, it's easier to stick with it, I guess, also. Right.
And it's kind of tough, obviously, because when you get back, you know, dentists, you know, work from 7 to 4, 9 to 7. It's going to be a challenge, but just to get your body looking at the advantages, like you go to bed 2, 3, 4 nights in a row, you start seeing some of the lines go away. You start seeing some of the bags shrink. Your posture gets better. You start having better digestion. You become more lucid. It's very addictive to start feeling good. You know, your sciatica is gone. Your frozen shoulder is gone. People now are asking you, you know, how old you are, because I know you're this age, but you look great. So it's very addictive to have the benefits of fitness happen. So sleep, it happens one day later. Like that study I showed you, the next day people look more attractive. So exercise, they actually shown for 18 hours after you do an interval training workout, your EPOC, which is the post-metabolic surge in blood sugar management, increases by 40%. You become a better fat burner by 40% for 18 hours after. It also, one exercise bout can change your anxiety level. You start off exercising thinking, oh, woe is me. What's this COVID thing going to do? After you get off, you know what? I've been through worse. I can handle this. So one workout can change your level, your state anxiety. So this is powerful stuff. So you don't need to do an exercise for 10 years to see a result. The next day you look more attractive. Right in the middle of your workout, you're happier. And when you leave the treadmill, already your anxiety state has gone down and you're breathing deep. You're getting air into your brain, increasing a neurotransmitter called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which facilitates communication between all 100 billion neurons. So we're talking higher executive functions. That whole idea of a dumb jock is very 1990s. We now know that CEOs on average exercise, and the guy who's not a CEO is not exercising. So when Anthony Robbins says success leaves clues, look to see what the CEO does. They got a gym in the house and they're exercising. Very different from the man in the street that is averaging, you know, $50,000 total household income and doesn't exercise. So no judgment. I'm just saying, look to see what people are doing and follow them, to follow their lead.
Well, good. Yeah. And we had, you know, we also had, as our kids have gotten older, moved out of the house, it was either a spare room or a gym. So, you know, it worked out really well.
Nice.
So your last, fourth thing is stress management.
Yeah, it's just, we'll do food. We'll do food. Can we do food really quickly? Food.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't leave out food because we're all eating. Comfort foods are all over the place. The key thing is you got to set up an environment that doesn't challenge your discipline. Like, I'm a very disciplined guy, exercising for 40 years, double strider as a trainer. People expect me to be fit. But if you put a hot apple pie on the island every night with 4 cold beers and a big bag of M&Ms, guess who's having a beer?
Right.
Guess who's having some pie? Guess who has an M&M every time I pass? So set up an environment that serves you. Most people have an environment that sabotages you. Yeah. Don't keep your beer in the fridge. It's warm. It's annoying to have to wait till it cools. The liquor stores are like making tons of money, but keep it further distance from you. Keep it in the garage, maybe. If you're going to have a glass of wine with dinner, don't put the bottle on the table. Don't put the bottle on the table. If you're having a big bag of chips bought at a bulk food store, don't put the whole bag beside you watching Netflix. Parcel it out into a small bowl, put the bag back in the closet, and it's called geographic eating. The further the distance the food is, the less chance you'll go back there. It's called geographic eating. The further the distance the food, the less chance you'll go there. So the wine, the beer, the chips, the cookies, the pie, keep them. They said the sweet distance is 7 feet. Doesn't have to be in your neighbor's house. Your neighbor doesn't have to look after your food or in the tool shed. 7 feet they found is like, why bother? 7 feet. But if it's within your reach, you're snacking that whole bag will finish by the Netflix. So managing your processed food is a very good way of keeping your stomach flat before we go back. Managing your processed food intake. So whole foods is key.
I read an article, and if you haven't heard of this, I'll share it with you, that said willpower is not enough. And the study was about, we think, we're a failure if, we're going to try and do it. And again, we have 5 kids and they're gone. So this makes a big difference. But that willpower is what we need. So if there's a bag of Doritos in the cabinet and, chocolate milk in the refrigerator, I just have to have the willpower. And what the research shows is willpower doesn't have anything to do with it. It's environment. And again, I didn't know 7 feet, but it's that proximity. If you don't have it in the house, you can't eat it. So don't have it in the house, whether it's, and sort of make that part of what you do. And we're very good. My wife's very good about vegetables and, no bag foods, we call it, processed foods. But I guess the message is you can't have enough willpower. If it's in the house, I can tell you this, if there's ice cream in the house, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to think about it.
Everyone has their Achilles heel. Now I know their Achilles heel. Put a little Haagen-Dazs in front of Steve.
Oh, geez. So the best for me is just don't have it in the house. And then no matter how much I want it, I'm not going to get in the car and drive to get it. So I just don't have it. And tomorrow morning, I've forgotten all about it. Is that kind of by environment? I guess that's what you're saying. That
Yeah, I love that. And it's so set an environment. That book is called "Willpower is Not Enough." So why not then have a big bowl of apples? Why not have put your vitamins on the counter instead of in the cupboard? Anytime you have your vitamins on the counter, put your runners beside the door instead of in the closet. Wear gym clothes in the morning, which actually sets the tone for leaving the house. Buy fresh fruit. Lord knows when you go to the grocery store, all the fresh food is available. It's all the bagged chips and the cookies and the fast food is gone. People say, I can't find. Go to different grocery stores. Most people have left the produce. There's tons of grapes, blueberries. Blueberries alone, there was a study by Dr. Michael Greger. He wrote a book called How Not to Die. And he showed that eating blueberries on a regular basis almost doubles your natural killer cells. So natural killer cells are the white blood cells. They're like the Navy SEAL team in your immune system. You can actually double your white blood cells and go from 2 billion to 4 billion on a regular basis by eating more blueberries. This is out of his book, How Not to Die. He's a doctor that he had 25,000 articles. In his 400-page book, he had 150 pages of references. It was all evidence-based information. But so blueberries, like if you want to strengthen your immune system, have more antioxidants in your body, look at food as medicine. I think Hippocrates said, all disease begins in the gut. So you start treating your microflora, your intestinal flora, your gut flora more gently, you'll be more lucid, more regular. You'll have better hormones because 16 hormones actually are made in the gut. 40% of the circulating metabolites in our body are made by the bacteria in our GI tract. And that's why they're calling this microbiome an organ, because it has effects on your metabolism, your immune system, your energy, and how fast you age. Because people who don't look good for their age or age quicker usually have less diversity in their gut flora. So if you want to slow down aging, you want to increase the diversity. So you want more variety of bacteria. And the number one way to have more bacteria, more good bacteria, is to eat a variety of whole foods and vegetables. Don't drink the same wine, don't eat the same apple, don't have the same bread. Change up your food and you'll set up an environment where you actually have more diverse flora. You literally slow down aging.
So so all of these things, again, back to our the focus are things you can do today to sort of stabilize the greatest asset in your business, which is you. Your business doesn't run without you. So, you got to take care of that engine, which is you. And then the second part of that to come back stronger, it's really the same thing. You can use this time to learn how to eat better, exercise, sleep better, and that helps manage your stress just across the board to make smarter decisions. And then, it really is a good time. I mean, they say 30 days is a habit. You have 30 days pretty much to get that habit started so that, it becomes just what you do going forward. Yeah.
It's fun. I think a lot of dentists treat their body like a second thought. And they said you got to treat your body like a high performance Formula One race car. Put the best fuel in, have the best tires, rotate those tires, have regular pit stops, go see the doctor, get some blood work done, get a sleep study. If you wake up in the morning tired, you have a headache in the morning, get a sleep, you snore, ask your doctor if you get a sleep study. If you're falling asleep in the middle of the day and you're 40, get a sleep study. Ask your doctor, do you qualify? But sleeping better is life-changing. Physical activity is life-changing. Eating more apples and fiber, which women need to have 25 grams a day is what they say. Men, 35 grams a day. A little bit less as you get older. But so eating the right amount of fiber is life-changing because you know what the percentage of the population eats the right amount of fiber? It's 3%. So 3% of the population eats a recommended 25 grams a day for women, 35 for men. And fiber is your body, your bacteria ferments it and makes something called short-chain fatty acids, which is basically one of the most potent anti-inflammatory agents your body makes. So literally, you eat fiber, your body can put out the fires of inflammation in your mouth, put out the fire of inflammation in your joints, put out the fires of inflammation in your brain, because they're actually saying that a lifetime of chronic inflammation, this is Dr. David Perlmutter, neurologist, said a lifetime of chronic inflammation in your brain leads to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, a lifetime of chronic inflammation. So if you want to put out the fire, it's not going to happen if you're part of the 97% of the population that doesn't eat the 25 grams a day for women, 35 for men. So that's easy. Fiber is cheap. Don't even worry about organic, non-organic. Just start eating an avocado, start eating a couple of apples a day, throw a salad in there, and it is life-changing. So sleep, fitness, fiber, stress management. Let's talk about stress for just a few minutes here, obviously, before we wind things down. Give me some thought. Set the foundation for it. Obviously, COVID-19, right away, people's pulses quicken and blood pressure goes up.
Oh, just saying that word today, I think, and if you're a practice owner and really you just want to see patients. And in the old days, you could tell your office manager, your practice manager, oh, I don't know what this tax thing is, just take care of that. And they would. Today, that doesn't happen. So those words just crank it up. So I think stress is just part of being a practice owner, right now.
Well, stress is part of life. Like as a business owner, sometimes everything's going really smoothly. Business owners often go, what can we do to shake things up a bit, right? So the body likes a bit of uncertainty, but not all the time. We like a little bit of variety, but not all the time. If every time you went home, you didn't know which house was yours, it might, it's not a good thing for your psyche. They've actually shown the human body doesn't mind stress, but for very short periods, 1 minute to 2 minutes. Okay. 10 minutes of stress in the evening, already cortisol, adrenaline, digestion slows, immune system is hampered. So the whole idea being is the body likes to have a stress, take an action, and then there's resolution. The body is designed for a stress, action, resolution. The body is never being geared for uncertainty or loose ends or long-term stress, which is basically this whole COVID thing. Like, when are we going back? How do I get a grant? What's the website to get a loan? Does my team still want me? Where's my 1,500 patients? And the people that you say you love or you're spending almost time with, you're driving each other crazy. So we're talking every facet of life is being challenged with COVID. So if you don't tell me that there's a universal increase in blood pressure and pulse quickening and triglycerides, and also we're feeding our comfort foods We're sleeping poorly because we're up at night watching Don Lemon and Carlson Tucker.
Yeah.
It's a prescription for disaster, and we're seeing it already. The WHO has already said there's epidemic amounts of domestic violence now taking place. Like, sad subject, but domestic violence now is on the increase because people are used to being apart all day, and now they're together 24 hours a day with no break, and with the 17 children all saying, "Dad, teach me algebra."
Right.
You know, so and you do crowns. I do crowns on algebra. So they're saying domestic violence is on the increase worldwide, with the financial, social, emotional, physical, and poor sleep, reptilian brain on edge. So think about it: poor sleep, reptilian brain. So managing stress is a good thing. So what do you do, Stephen? You look like a very chill kind of Kung Fu Panda guy. What's your secret to enjoying life and taking the edge off your day?
Mine is routine. Okay. I find comfort in, and I know that sounds strange, I find comfort in routine. So, my mornings are the same, my evenings are the same. I have routines that make me feel like, okay, I'm in okay world. And I think for a practice, it's why I come to the office. I could set up a place to do this at home, but I'm out of my routine at home. I can get dressed and go down the hall, and here I am. I need that routine. So that's sort of what keeps me there. And the other thing is, my wife is, I think we talked before, she is she works for a large healthcare company, and one of her focuses is food as medicine. And, they're a healthcare company. They literally believe that, and they, have proof of that. We could, that's a whole different interview, but she can show where food literally changes your health, not just the health food-wise you think, but it becomes part of it's medicine. So instead of eating like you normally eat, taking a pill, food becomes that pill, becomes that medicine. So she's very good at a lot of vegetables, a lot of even if we have a cocktail, she'll call it a skinny margarita, or she'll have so anything she does, she's very conscious about what goes into it, knowing that that's what goes into us. So that does help. All of that helps. So for me, it's a lot of routine. Okay. No, routine makes you have control, right? It makes your life more predictable. So with stress, with on loose ends, one of the best things you do actually is number thing you do becomes more stress resilient is to exercise. John Vertay, Harvard trained, he's a medical doctor, psychiatrist, teaches psychiatry in Harvard Medical School, wrote a book called Spark, said regular physical activity helps all mental illness. Regular physical activity, he said, bar none, is one of the best ways to reduce psychic stress and make you more even keeled, because it resets all neurotransmitters. So if you had no control over COVID, the regular exercisers will have a better, lower cortisol response. Fitter people don't get upset as quickly. Fitter people, I call it staying still in the eye of the storm. Physically fit people stay still in the eye of the storm. They don't fly off the handle as much because their amygdala is calm because they sleep better, right? Their amygdala is calm. They have less muscular tension. They hear bad news. What should I do? Left and right brain, go into past memory. They have better memories because they sleep better. So physically active people have less of an attenuated response to cortisol. And one of the first studies of its kind was done in 2012 with firefighters and police officers. And they showed that fit firefighters had less of a reactive mind to a perceived crisis. And they actually had a more tempered decision-making process. And that was first done in 2012. They've always said police officers, firefighters, first responders need to get fit. They make sure they're fit when they want to get in. But they did a study that showed how fit people respond to crisis differently. They have a more tempered, more attenuated, more modulated response. And I love this saying. When you think of a hurricane or a tornado, there's a center that's calm. And that's where the fit people are. That's where the exercisers are. They have a quiet spot where they can make the best decisions and to think like a CEO. And that's one of the reasons I'm sure why CEOs, 85% of them exercise, because you get to be in that Richard Branson style sweet spot of making the best decision. Instead of flying off the handle and drive everyone crazy, it's a lot of unsettling nature. You want to stay still in the eye of the storm. It's much easier to dialogue and ask someone for help or guidance if they're quiet, like Kung Fu Panda. I'm being silly, but to have that still in the eye of the storm is a very attractive leadership place to be. And just again, and when something comes at you, you realize how you're going to respond to it. What do they say? Respond, no, don't react.
Right.
And the calmer you are, the more your anxiety level is managed because you're managing the stress. I guess stress is external, anxiety is internal.
How you respond, exactly.
So you respond rather than react, rather than being on edge, just ready to go.
And so many diseases too, that reactive nature, because right now, all the emergencies for hundreds of thousands of years were physical violence and risk of death. So when you're stressed out, COVID numbers go up. Basically, your body's going, cut down a tree, kill a lion, and you're on the couch with your iPad. So it fuels muscular tension. Remember I said exercise decreases muscular tension? And also, when you're sitting there annoyed, the body wants you to blow off steam. You really need to get outside and do some power walking, interval style, to dissipate that tension. But if you keep it internalized, your body slows down digestion, the mucus lining thins, so you have more chance of pathogenic bacteria. You have more pathogenic bacteria finding parking spots in your GI tract, so more likely to have dysbiosis and stomach upset. You sleep poorer because the muscular tension increases cortisol. So basically, poorly managed reaction to crisis actually increases wear and tear, or I call it accelerated aging. It's called, we're all going to go back looking a little older, and it'll only be 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll all go back looking a decade older. Trust me, poor sleep, another 8 pounds, stress, another exercising, people are going to go back a little worse for the wear, unless they listen to this program and do those 4 things. So stress management, exercise, physical fitness, and eating more fiber. Eating more fiber is king.
And I think I think a lot of this is, I make sure I always say this, it's not to diminish it, or it's not denial. It's not that
Right.
the external factors don't exist. You're not saying, oh, I'll just do this little change and wait it out. They do exist, and they're strong, and they're coming at you every day. But the answer is, again, to figure out how to respond. And in this case, those 4 things are a response to it today, which lay the groundwork for, when you finally do get back, and then just keeping that up. I mean, I would think if you, I don't know whether it's distance or time, if you just start to integrate some kind of exercise, whether it's an evening walk, an interval walk, into your habit now, 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now, what used to be, what used to wear you out after 20 minutes is pretty comfortable now. And if you just keep that up, it's, it's invigorating, gets the blood flowing, and it's way easier than it was the first week that you did it, this week.
Sure. And don't wait to lose 10 pounds or become a world-class sleeper.
Yeah.
The first night you go to bed a little early, celebrate. The first day that you have an avocado at 10 grams of fiber, celebrate. The first time you remember when you go out walking to vary the speed, celebrate. The first time when someone gets in your face and you're getting annoyed or watching TV, do what the Buddhists talk about. They inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. What it does, it changes your nervous system going from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Just inhaling through the nose is like the DJ scratching the record saying, hey, chill. And right away, your nervous system goes, chill. Inhale through your nose. That's why we all say, if you want to annoy your spouse, significant other, say, take a deep breath. And it's actually right. What it does is it disengages the sympathetic nervous system and puts you into parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is youth. It's insulin sensitive. It's growth. It's testosterone. It's good GI tract. Makes you leadership. Holding your breath, breathing shallow is accelerated aging. Never getting to leadership position, fat deposition, poor growth hormone, poor testosterone, and poor sleep. So the more time we spend in sympathetic fight or flight dominant, the more accelerated aging. And you can disengage that whole autonomic nervous system by simply breathing in through your nose. And how much does all this stuff cost? Zero. Who does it depend on? No one, except listen to this video. It's the only thing you got to do is basically listen to this and watch it. And then I always challenge people. I said, if you're going to watch something cool, and if I'm resonating with a business owner out there, if I'm resonating with a business leader, a dentist, what I want you to do though, before midnight comes, I want you to take action on something. So before midnight tonight, I'm saying take action on one thing that turns your crank and say, you know what? I'm getting myself a sleep mask. I'm going to get a Himalayan salt lamp off Amazon. I'm going to go, when I go for a walk, I'm going to vary my intensity. That's 3 things, but I think just do one, celebrate, and tomorrow add a second one. And also stay in touch. I love dialoguing. Because I had one gentleman that said to me, Uche, you've inspired me in your programs. This is actually a pretty significant guy in the dental world. He said, Uche, you inspired me. He said, I've lost 15 pounds since January 1st. Because some of your posts that you're sharing. I'm thinking like, I've never trained him, never dialogued with him, don't even talk to him. But somehow reading my posts, he goes, I've lost 15 pounds. I'm like, you can't put a price tag on that. You know, you can't put a price tag on that. I can, I earn zero. But what it does is though, it tells me that I'm leading with my heart, I'm investing in my brain, and I'm helping out my colleagues. And every time I share, this information goes deeper inside bioneurology. They've shown that every time you teach someone, you increase your retention by 90%. So if someone gets excited about something or anything, if you, I know Steve, you're a pretty in shape guy, but if you learned anything new in the last hour we've been talking, if you share it with someone, you'll retain that up to 90% more likely if you tell someone. If you don't tell anyone, it's 5%. If you teach someone something, it's 90%. It will become yours. That's powerful. This is the leadership. This is the business owner. This is CEO mentality.
Well, and so I was just noticing the time, which is fine. We could, one of the things I love about you is you've got, number one, I don't know how you keep it all up there. So you have like an extra hard drive that, you know, some people don't have, and
terabyte, I got a terabyte
for what you do. Well, it really is amazing. And I don't think anybody could watch this and not walk away with just a better understanding of their own health and how it ties to exactly what's going on right now. And how to, you know, just how to manage that and get through it. And I appreciate you sharing all that. So if somebody did want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
The best way is my website, because you can phone me or you can email me on that website. So it's druche.com. So druche.com, druche.com. Well, I post more on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, I'm all maxed out. So you can follow me, but I'm all maxed out. Okay. But Instagram, and I tell dentists, you know, if you're over 40, most dentists go, Instagram, what's Instagram? Well, get an account and you can follow, President Trump. You can follow Sean Hannity. You can follow Don Lemon. You can follow anyone you want. You can follow Roger Federer. And basically they're talking about books, their beliefs. You follow them, and they all, Kim Kardashian, follow her. But on Instagram, I think The Rock has the most followers, 177 million people. He's the most followed person on the planet. And Kim Kardashian's 145. And I think Donald Trump is like 18 million. To give you an idea of where people's mentality is at, you know, like
I'm not sure what the commentary was on the U.S. right there, but you know,
we're enthralled with celebrity. We're enthralled with celebrity. Kylie Jenner, 152 million. Kylie Jenner, 2 million. So I'm on Instagram too. Little over 5,000 followers. I call them friends, not followers, because I answer every question. I get messages, I get likes, I get questions. But since January 1st, I posted 382 times. 382 times on Instagram. On average, about 4 or 5 times a day. Because every time I read an article, like here's an article from American College of Sports Medicine. So if I read an article, what I do is I make it mine. I highlight, I underline. And what I do is I take a fact, I divide it into 3 points, and I post it. And remember I said every time you teach, you retain more? Right. So part of my secret to increasing my hard drive is because I share more. I have to retain if I share more. So here's something. It said depression, which is going to be rampant over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 months, over this whole year. Depression is the leading cause of long-term disability in the developed world. Depression is the #1 reason for disability so think what's going to happen now. That's why the governments, you know, have trillions of dollars to help people, to help stop the money drain. But depression basically is 2 or 3 months of poor sleep and some pain, and all of a sudden your people, adrenal fatigue, lower levels of serotonin, and now you're physically not able to do it. Like the Bible says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh will be weak. So this program, these 4 tips, and on my Instagram, it's at Fit Speakers. So Fit, I'm not sure you can do a little Chiron or something, but Fit Speakers is the place to go for me. Fit Speakers. So FITSPEAKRES. And I'm yours. Pick my brain. I enjoy sharing. It's selfish though, because it goes deeper into my brain. So I'm here to share with my colleagues. I love my colleagues.
Well, we, like always when we talk, you are just, it's like, I always say, it's like drinking from a fire hose. There's knowledge, and I have pages and pages of notes that I keep. And
you're a fit guy already. Like you're fit. Like you're a fit guy, Steve. So
you can always be, I think you can always be better fit or more fit. And I am doing the same thing. I'm taking an opportunity to integrate some things into my life that, you know, I normally couldn't or wouldn't, that help me take my mind off of, you know, the TV.
Yes.
You know, we walk every night, which really gives us, you know, time together. Paul and I walk. So it's,
Right.
you know, something that we always did, but now it becomes kind of part of our routine. And I have a feeling it'll stick. You know, it's a good time, so it'll stick when we're done. We kind of, it's how we wind down our day, and you know, we both come to enjoy it. So,
Nice.
but no, you have covered a world of good ideas.
Something's going to stick. Something's going to stick to a business owner's mind. Something's going
I
to
hope so. I think so. What would be your parting thought to somebody out here? I love your challenge, but what would be your parting thought to somebody who's, you know, feeling that pressure and, you know, they just watched us?
Treat your body like a Formula One high performance race car.
Okay.
Don't treat it like an afterthought. Don't treat your body like an afterthought. Treat it like a pristine Formula One race car. The best fuel, the best tires, the best tune-up, the best driver. And you're in the driver's seat. So we get to pick and choose. The cost is almost nothing to get fit. And the benefits, though, it's the one investment you'll make that pays, forget the compounded interest, exponential interest your whole entire life. And it's beautiful when people start coming to you for advice because you're living it. And patients love a healthcare provider that has authentic communication, because when you're fit and you're happy, you've got good shoulders, you're bright eyes and bushy-tailed, your case presentations are smoother. You look the embodiment of health, and patients just want to say yes to be in your energy orbit. And that's my gift. Like, so you'll look and feel better, but you'll be better at treatment planning, you'll have more energy, and you'll be a better role model and a better leader in the office. Like, what more could you ask for such a low-cost financial investment?
Well, I think that is a perfect place to wrap this up, I think. And I'm sure, again, I have a feeling you'll get a lot of Instagram messages or Facebook posts, or you get a lot of emails. This is, I think, once you get it started, I think a lot of people will start to reach out to you. So
Sure, my pleasure.
Getting that. So with that, I think we'll wrap this up. Uche, thanks for coming on. As always, it's just a thrill to have you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it.
So until next time, practice owners, just hang in there, do the best you can. I think you're going to walk away from this one with a lot of valuable advice. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.